Individuality comes after many years of training, practicing, assimilating, further deeper thinking. So individuality will come also after a big experience of performing. So initially, for several years, a young musician is kind of emulating his or her guru or an idol that he or she has in mind. And they go on that track for several years. And gradually, if the person is really well trained and well equipped with a lot of material, with a very good musical talent, after all, to reach a considerably good level, one must have that God's gift. So that innate musicality, that sense of musicality, that also has to be there. And then I think a young musician can achieve a distinct place for himself or herself. External challenges are many. There are many. Today's times, pursuing a full-time career as a classical musician is really tough. It is in itself it's a challenge. Well, I wouldn't really put Tappa into the semi-classical format. The kind of skill it requires and the way it is structured, there's nothing wrong in calling it classical, putting it straight away in the classical category. Yeah, because it is certainly difficult also, more difficult than Thumri, because you need a tremendous riyaz and tayari for Tappa, for executing those. They are not just tans, they are quicksilver tans. I have heard many great musicians of the past singing Tappa. Of course, even recordings of people like Siddheshwari Devi and Krishna Rao Shankar Pandit and so on, many others. Bala Saheb himself. But one artist whose voice really excelled as a Tappa singer was a very dear friend of mine and one of the finest vocalists of India, Pandit Jagdish Prasad. He was a very brilliant and a very colorful, very imaginative singer. And what is great about him is that his voice cooperated with his imagination. And it's very unfortunate he passed away very young. A few years back. But once I heard the Tappa from him, my whole understanding, perspective of Tappa had changed considerably, and I felt that was such a beautiful form of music. A few years back, I was invited for a music festival in London, and I was told that another young upcoming artist would also be traveling by the same flight, and because that was going to be her first travel outside India, that I could just be with her to give her kind of confidence. And that's how I met her at the airport, and we traveled together by flight, and she told me that she was a disciple of Pandit Balasaheb Poonchwale, who was a very great, knowledgeable musician, and with whom I had the great privilege of interacting on many occasions, and even performed with him. So I was very happy that she was taking her lessons, but by that time Balasaheb was no more. But that she had already trained under him was something very nice, very deeply traditional. So I asked her specially, did she learn the Tappa form? It's a genre, of vocal music that really requires a lot of special skill. And she said she did. So, and then she performed there in the festival. I mean, we had our own performances, and among many other artists from India. And I told her specifically in the hotel room when I heard her sing, I wanted her to sing a few tappas, and she sang them for me, and I was so happy. And I told her, you must make it a point to end your concert with one or two tappas. People should listen to this tappa, because normally tappas are, we hear them in Khamaj, Kafi, Bhairavi. She has a good collection in other ragas which are normally considered very classical. And she has some good tappas, and she did a great job, and she fared very well in that festival. And that's how I know Shashwati. And I mean, I can just say that she holds a lot of promise. She's coming up beautifully. I had heard about some very good talented musicians coming from that Hubli Dharwad region. That land is anyway blessed. Some of the greatest musicians have come from that region. But a few youngsters who were making a name, and I started hearing a few names, and one of them was Venkatesh Kumar. So I was kind of looking forward that someday maybe I'll bump into him and get a chance to listen to him. And the first I heard him was in Kolkata at a music festival where I had also gone to perform. And on the earlier evening, I had just gone to attend the concert, and I heard him sing also. And I was very impressed. He sang Rag Shuddha Kalyan. And he created a very strong impact on the listeners there in Kolkata. And you know how Kolkata audiences are. They're very knowledgeable. And there was what I felt about Venkatesh ji's singing. I thought he was much younger when I just heard his name, much younger to me. But then I found that he's a couple of years older than me. But it's just that he came into limelight and came into people's notice very late in life. It happens. People like Pandit Mallikarjun Mansoor and many others. So Venkatesh Bhai, actually he sang so beautifully. And even his appearance, he's such a simple person. As a human being, he's a gem of a person. Very transparent, very simple, down to earth. And this is one of the elements that really you find in very great musicians, their simplicity. And Venkatesh ji, I found both that combination of simplicity and a lot of thought he has already put over the years into his singing. Though he follows the typical Kirana style of the Hubli Dharwad region. Kirana has a few other styles also, methods of singing. He's extremely tuneful, and he involves himself completely in that rag when he's performing. And I mean, like a good musician should be, he's totally unaware of things around him when he starts his performance. So these things impressed me. Then I heard him a couple of times, many more times, and we became great friends, and we are really very close friends now. Well, friends, just don't miss these two wonderful artists, Shashwati Mandal, followed by Pandit Venkatesh Kumar. You'll really have a good time. I can assure you that. Well, this Diwali concert, I'm going to be there, and I want to see all of you there.